أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من هيجان الحرص وسورة الغضب وغلبة الحسد وضعف الصبر وقلة القناعة وشكاسة الخلق وإلحاق الشهوة وملكة الحمية ومتابعة الهوى ومخالفة الهدى وسنة الغفلة وتعاطي الكلفة وإيثار الباطل على الحق وإصرار على المأثم واستصغار المعصية واستكبار الطاغية ومباهاة المكثرين والإزراء بالمقلين وسوء الولاية لمن تحت أيدينا وترك الشكر لمن اصطنع العارفة عندنا أو أن نعضد ظالما أو نخذل ملهوفا أو نروم ما ليس لنا بحق أو نقول في العلم بغير علم ونعوذ بك أن ننطوي على غش أحد وأن نعجب بأعمالنا ونمد في آمالنا ونعوذ بك من سوء السريرة واحتقار الصغيرة وأن يستحوذ علينا الشيطان أو ينكبنا الزمان أو يتهضمنا السلطان ونعوذ بك من تناول الإسراف ومن فقدان الكفاف ونعوذ بك من شماتة الأعداء ومن الفقر إلى الأكفاء ومن معيشة في شدة وميتة على غير عدة ونعوذ بك من الحسرة العظمى والمصيبة الكبرى وأشقى الشقاء وسوء المآب وحرمان الثواب وحلول العقاب. اللهم صل على محمد وآله وأعذني من كل ذلك برحمتك وجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات يا أرحم الراحمين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. Dear brothers and sisters, Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullah. First, I would like to thank the Heidarioon group or the Heidarioon group in Manchester for inviting me to give such a series and such a series of lectures, and inshallah we can all benefit from them maximally. I've been asked to speak about a number of du'as of the Sahifah Sajjadiyah, and these are commonly known as the Psalms of Al Muhammad, the Zabur of Al Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are a number of du'as which have been compiled, have been written by Imam Sajjad, although he would read them and his scribes were two of his sons. One was Imam Baqir, Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, and the other was Zayd. And as the Imam was reading the du'as, these two offsprings would write the du'as. So this was a very early compiled book in the history of Islam, one of the earliest teachings that was compiled into a book form in the very early years of Islam. For example, Nahjul Balagha, which is a compilation of the speeches, sermons and maxims of Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, that was compiled much later on, maybe in the 4th century after Hijrah. But this was compiled much earlier into a book form during the time of the Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, and the scribes were two of his sons. And if one just imagines the environment at that time, these du'as were all read after Karbala. So it was during the peak of oppression by the Umayyad dynasties that they were suffering from and were experiencing. And propagation of religion is something which can never stop. One of the duties of the Imam is propagation of religion. That can never stop. It has to keep on going. But the form may alter. And the form that this propagation took for Imam Sajjad during his time was primarily through the publishing or the reading of these du'as. And when people speak of du'as, they usually automatically think it's a very, in quotes, spiritual effort which only focuses on the metaphysical aspects of life, which is very important. But as we shall see, in these du'as, it's a very comprehensive picture of what a du'a should be, and that is focusing on all aspects of life in this world and in the hereafter, and how one has to gain perfection whilst in this realm so that one can benefit in the hereafter. And as it will become evident, these du'as were very politically lethal for the ruling dynasties at the time, because it was in the guise of a du'a, but the content, in addition to the metaphysical and akhirati, hereafter life aspects, we see that it even focuses on the political oppressions and what one's duty is during the episodes where one is facing and encountering political oppression. So it's something that has a lot of benefit today even, and one can benefit from it and take lesson from it, and we'll speak about that. And also there are ethical lessons one can take. Lessons in Tawheed is one of the pivotal features of these du'as, which number around 50 odd du'as altogether. And also how to treat people in society. Protocols are given here once again, and how to see, how to view the Prophet, how to view the Imam, the status of the Imam, the status of the Prophet. And if one understands or unlocks these codes, then one will realize why the Imam didn't give, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, why he didn't give his full stamp of approval, why he didn't give his vote of confidence to the likes of Mukhtar. What Mukhtar did, some aspects were given the stamp of approval, but it was only a partial stamp of approval. There were many aspects of Mukhtar and his uprising which never received the full stamp of approval from the fourth successor to the Holy Prophet, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. And this is important to realize why this was the case. These du'as open it up, and this too has lessons for us today. Or for example, the Tawwabin movement, which resulted after the Repenters movement, which resulted after Karbala, those who were in remorse and regret in why they couldn't contribute and aid in the movement of Imam Hussein alayhi salam with Ashura. They repented, and they were suffering inner suffering, and were regretting why they weren't part of the Karbala or Ashura movement. And so they also brought about an uprising, but that uprising too, it never received a full endorsement from the fourth Imam. And that which is important is that a movement receives full stamp of approval, a full vote of confidence, a true endorsement from the living Imam. That's important. Otherwise, the uprising of Zayd, who was one of the offspring, one of the sons of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, that received a full vote of confidence and full endorsement by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, because it happened during that time, during the time of Imam Sadiq. But that received the full vote of confidence. And you would expect such a student of Imam Sajjad to receive, to execute a true uprising. So uprisings, not all of them can be given the stamp of approval. One has to acknowledge the status of the Imam in order to differentiate and discern which uprising is a true uprising and which isn't. Mukhtar tried to attribute his uprising to the endorsement of the fourth Imam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, but it was never to be. And as we see that the two scribes, as the Imam was reciting the supplications, the two scribes were Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Zayd. And here, both of these two sons, they continued through these du'as, they continued the line of their father, but to varying degrees, to different degrees. Zayd took a more militant stance, and that is understandable, and that was his duty. Whereas Imam Baqir focused on the propagation of religion. But one has to note that with all the Imams, that which is crucial in the efforts they make, the struggles, the endeavors, two things can never be compromised. One is the propagation of religion, and the other is speaking against oppression and disseminating the truth and affording people the opportunity to differentiate what is truth and what is falsehood. And propagation of religion on the other side too. These two have to always be borne in mind when you want to analyze the life of an imam. And even today, those who are entrusted this responsibility to continue the line of the imam during the period of occultation, this Islamic leadership also have to bear in mind that these two are of utmost importance. They are essential facets to any revolution: propagation of religion and speaking against oppression. If either of these two are compromised, this is a very important feature enabling us to attribute falsehood to any given, in quotes, Islamic movement. Okay. Now, here in the first dua, we want to touch upon, inshallah, in the next session we'll start, but it's in relation to isti'aذah. And isti'aذah means seeking refuge. And this is dua number, or supplication number 8. And here we have to analyze what the reality of isti'aذah is and how we have to incorporate this state of the soul. Because isti'aذah, at the end of the day, this seeking refuge, is a faculty, a dimension of our soul. But what exactly is it that the soul has to incorporate? And for one to truly be a traveler towards Allah and someone who truly is seeking refuge. And this, inshallah, we'll discuss in the second lesson, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.